Hello and welcome to this special edition of The Verified with me, Mustafa Kedava. Today, this is a special edition. I have Mr. David Kujabi. It's a former police officer and a security analyst. And I have also Madi Jobarteh from Edward Francis Small Center for Rights and Justice. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Good to be here.
Great. So it's been a very eventful week. I would say maybe last week was quite, towards the end of the week, there was a news that Sanna Manjang was arrested. I think Sanna Manjang is synonymous to the term junglers, which is literally the black box of the crimes of Jammeh, like literally. How significant, I start with David, how significant do you think this arrest is? Let's look at it from the security point of view.
I think it's been 8 to 9 years since these people were declared wanted.
Yeah.
And they have eluded arrest for the longest time, especially Sanna Manjang in particular.
Yeah.
If you had followed the TRRC, his name came out as one of the most voted members of the junglers. So he, of course, has a lot of victims. He represents what no military officer would want to associate with. And, well, he's a member of the Gambian Armed Forces. So there should be special interest that he is arrested and brought to justice. Finally, over this week, the past few days, we heard of his arrest, which is really very good news. Not just for victims of the atrocities, but even every Gambian, given the fact that the atrocities that they committed, the violence that they committed on people are still affecting people today. And it's very important that they are brought to justice. We are pretty sure that Sanna, in his own ways, has a lot of information that should be of interest to the Gambian people, and we are looking forward to him being brought to justice and getting to learn more of what his activities were to corroborate some of the information we have had during the TRRC, what he has been up to, along other junglers who he may be in contact with. This will be an interesting period. It's a delicate moment given the times that we are in, going into elections next year, and a whole lot of things happening within the sub-region, but I think it's a huge and a good thing, depending on how we handle it.
You think also this could have, it's an opportunity to provide us a little bit of a hole into the activities of the junglers since they've departed the Gambia?
Yes, I mean, it should be of interest. You know, we are very much interested in what Jammeh has been up to since he left the Gambia. And what is he doing in Equatorial Guinea?
Yeah.
But then it's not just him. We have the junglers also and many people who fled after him. What have they been up to? What is their mindset? How are they living? What is their train of thought? When they think about Gambia, what is their plans? We are interested in knowing all of this because these are people of interest. So it's very important. I mean, for me, the arrest of Sanna should have happened a long time ago, but now that he has been arrested, we are keen on finding out everything we can about him, especially as it relates to security implications in this country.
We'll come to its relations to what can be done about it in relation to TRRC, but let's look at from your own side too, Mr. Jobarteh. When you heard he was arrested, what came to your mind? I mean, what did you think of in connection to his arrest? Was it a crime he's committed, or the significance of that? Or
yeah, I mean, for me, I first went to the TRRC report. I think it's volume 8, or on the junglers, extrajudicial execution. And I went to the white paper as well to look at specifically what the TRRC said. I mean, in terms of those he killed, his participation, involvement, and what the white paper also said in terms of that. Even though I know the white paper accepted the recommendations, and looking at his victims, from Data Hydra to sold out to the Ghanaians, or the West Africans, but also to close relatives of Jammeh, Madi Jobarteh and Haruna Jammeh, and Daba Marena and the 6 other persons. And the report indicates, in fact, some unnamed persons. So when you look at it, he's killed, dozens, tens of people. And, but the description even the TRRC gave, it's what David just said, his brutality, cruelty, but not just that. The TRRC itself said he was an enthusiastic killer.
Yeah.
So, but very importantly, what David said, the information he would provide. So I was like, okay, with his arrest, we will have an insight into what junglers, the network of junglers outside there, particularly between, Senegal and Guinea-Bissau. So he can give a lot of that information. And in fact, in my post, made a Facebook post, I say one step closer to the dictator himself, because not just the junglers, information about them, but I'm sure Sanna must have been in touch with Jammeh. I'm sure they are having communication. So that is all information that could be available to us now, and I guess the security would get those information. Which means also it's a great relief to victims, to survivors, that a key perpetrator like that is now arrested, which opens the door to access a lot of information, as I said. So I received it that way, and finally to say also, despite the, how late it is, as David said, Sanna should have been arrested a long time ago. But I said, regardless, I commend our security for the collaboration they've put up with Senegal to get to this point. If anything, I just want the government to go further to be more forthcoming in terms of information. Because, and again...
GAF itself has not issued a statement yet.
No, I've not seen that. And the government statement is very preliminary, so I would suppose it's at the end of the week or during the weekend. So I hope this week, Monday, today, tomorrow we have a more comprehensive information. Because that's also good for the society as a whole to know we arrested him in this village or in this region, in this forest, or in this house, the picture of that house, him under custody. But also with who? Because I have seen, now I'm seeing some said no Habaji is
was not there.
But the information was that no Habaji and Sanna were arrested. So, but then also that he was arrested with, I think, 3 or 4 other people.
Yeah.
Now, who are
identity of which they haven't established.
Yes. So even if they are not Gambians, the fact that they are associating with Sanna, it is important Gambians know who are these people.
Yeah.
So I think in some in a way I would say I receive it with mixed feelings. Yes. In one sense, great relief. Encouraging that yes, we are getting the perpetrators no matter how late, and the collaboration that has happened, a good job by the security, but also many questions that you really wonder. Because I've also seen conflicting accounts that he was planning a coup, and some plan being laid out, but also coming to realize actually these people are busy with livelihood issues. Bakery, charcoal, selling, and so on. So which is which? There's
a still little lack of clarity over the circumstances. What would you say about the issue of the significance as it relates to what happened here? Because Sanna was also, if you read the TRRC, an operational commander of the junglers, as opposed to he's an operational commander who leads them into several hit jobs. So
it's hugely significant because until now, all the junglers were arrested outside the Gambia without Gambian security involvement. Now, Sanna too was arrested outside but with Gambian involvement, and the closest to us, because those were the ones, like Michael Correa, I think,
Michael Correa, Bailo,
even Usman Sonko, very far away, but Sanna is too close to home, so that makes it very significant, very real, and also given his status in the whole, criminality. So, so therefore, he brings a lot more reality.
Because he's the first operational commander to be arrested.
Yeah. So it brings that reality, and I think it brings back, refreshes the conversation about transitional justice, and now people are beginning to speak in hindsight that he should have been arrested earlier. But what has government been doing? And who else is out there other than Sanna? And what are they doing? I mean, critical questions that David raised. So, it's a very significant development. But its significance, though, still has to be further qualified. And for me, that is dependent on how government picks it up from the moment the arrest came in the coming days and weeks. And I think the biggest significance would happen when Sanna enters the Republic of the Gambia.
And what would be activated?
Yeah, so exactly what reaction government would do in terms of where are they going to take him, how will they process him, and
they did make reference to TRRC in the press release, which suggests that they are alive to the realities that Sanna would face some form of justice.
Yeah.
If I may comment, I just want to say that I want to commend government, especially for promptly coming out with some information about his arrest. And I couldn't blame them for not being very scant with the information they are providing. At this point, since it's just an arrest that happened, the needful to do is to announce his arrest. But given the fact that a few days has passed, there's a lot of speculation, a lot of conspiracy theory and so on. And I think they need to set the record straight. At this moment, the Gambian population and even the whole world all over is yearning for clear information as to the circumstances in which they have been arrested, what they have been involved in. Is there any truth in the talk about a plot for a coup to destabilize the country? We need clarity on that because as it is right now, there are a lot of people who are not comfortable. Yes, we celebrate his arrest, but then we want to know more. It's just him.
It's also, I guess it's also a very striking coincidence. I mean, Jammeh said he's coming.
Yes, so you also have that coincidence. So some people are easily putting dots together. At this point, you cannot blame them for thinking all that way. And it's only government who can give clarity about this. So I think it's important that as soon as possible, they give the population more information so that, one, it will put us at ease, and two, let us know what we are looking ahead. But I also think when it comes to significance, the arrest of Sanna is really very important because it presents a test case for the Gambia. He's made mention that others who have been arrested and prosecuted, linking them to the TRRC, were arrested outside the Gambia, prosecuted and convicted outside the Gambia. We have here members of junglers who testified at the TRRC. They are walking free in the Gambia. We know there are
at least there is 5.
Yes. So we know that there are plans. But if the international world is doing something about these people, what are we going to do at this stage? Because it seems
there has not been one prosecution, I think, that's connected to TRRC findings.
And that is? But you will realize that we want to understand what exactly is happening, and this is going to present a test case for the Gambia. What exactly is going to happen with Sanna? Is he going to be just brought up and arrested under military police custody?
Like the rest of the junglers were. Until some passed away. So, I think Bora was the only one who passed away.
Yes.
But also, chairman also passed away. They call him chairman. I think is Amadou Badji.
I mean, it's not just about the junglers. A lot of people who have been recommended for prosecution in the TRRC are gradually phasing out without justice. Because that means
particularly the 2016 tortured victims, a lot have died.
So I think in as much as we are following due process, we need to see some bit of action.
But what do you think, I mean, particularly regarding, because Sanna is privileged, regarding Jongula's operations, and this is one guy who had been, like I said, an operational commander, like after the era of Musa Jammeh, Maliamungu, and Tamba. Sanna was an operational commander of high significance. One, he could connect the Jammeh to these crimes, and two, he could also provide specific details, much like a black box of a flight incident.
I think...
how significant is that?
If I have not forgotten, some people who had disappeared mysteriously or have died under the hands of the junglers, where they were buried or where they were thrown to, it's still not clear. So there are still a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah.
So having arresting Sanna, who had been in the heart of these whole operations, to the level of being an operational commander, I think there is a ton of information that the people are interested in finding out from Sanna.
But it could also be very significant to the government's drive itself. Maybe I bring it to you in terms of building the case. I mean, because so far, I mean, we've had a lot of folks who were testifying. They were all junglers, but these were all foot soldiers who were within the greater scheme of things. But they were not operational commanders, not Oya, not Malik, none of those. And now that we have somebody who Jammeh most likely would have placed a call to say, this is the mission. That is, if Jammeh was directly linked to these operations as claimed. I mean, how significant is that in terms of the evidence building process? I mean, in terms of the eventual road to...
Yeah, just to put up a preamble to say, we hope when we get there, Sanna will be cooperative.
Yes.
Would not be a hostile witness. Because he's a witness, he's a perpetrator and a witness at the same time. But the long and short of it is that Sanna offers us quantity and quality of evidence. You know, being there from the beginning, going through the ranks to operational commander, and, you know, as David said, in the heart of everything. So Sanna has a wealth of information in terms of decision-making, that is the operations of the junglers, in terms of the decision-making, in terms of the process, in terms of the execution, you know, of activities, implementation of the activities, in terms of the location of activities, in terms of the victims, in terms of participants, because, you know, maybe others even supported junglers who are not the junglers, you know, the team itself, but provided administrative maybe or certain support, whether information about somebody they need to arrest, and, you know, you can't tell. So the quantity and the quality of information Sanna can provide is immense, and above all, this is now a question of Jammeh versus Sanna himself, not evidence, because I'm sure there is no doubt that Jammeh would attempt to wash off his hands from the operations of the junglers, because as typical, you know, this is not just peculiar to Jammeh, dictators, the way they operate, you know, he will want to pin to a material evidence, and I'm sure there will not be a memo, you know, probably, or a letter, or a circular to say go and kill these people, or do these things, or even an MOU or something establishing the junglers as an official outfit. You know, so in the absence of those things, how do you pin Jammeh to the junglers and all its killings? And now somebody like Sanna is detained. Is that connection? And that is why Sanna's importance in all this is so critical. You know, and but then again, Sanna, well, he said to be coming to the Gambia. As I said, how will the country or the government process him? You know, bearing in mind the case of Timbora Koli, came also a member of the junglers, but the government handed him over to the military. That he's a soldier and so under military law. Unfortunately, he passed away and went away with a lot of information. So how are you going to deal with Sanna? Are you going to hand him over to the military? We need to secure his life, until the day he gets to the court. Bora died, he said, had health conditions. One may ask, why did we also, or was it even proper medical care?
A lot of the junglers were actually sick. I mean, these were reported.
So it brings to my mind, as an organization, Small Center, our statement we issued, when Jammeh announced his coming, that the government should put in place a mechanism to deal with this. I think the Bora Koli incident is an experience.
Bora was not the only one who died. Ahmadu Bajid also died, chairman. He's a jungler. He's one of the 5 who testified.
Yeah, so that is an experience. The other 5 who testified, they are also soldiers.
Yeah.
But because they testified at TRRC, an arrangement was made that they will be free until we get to this court. Will you also allow Sanna to be free like those people? All right. Or will you put him under custody?
I think he's too notorious. I mean, his reputation precedes him.
Yeah, but government has to appear to be following the rule of law and to be, not to be selective. So yes, he is notorious, but what process would determine, justify, leaving him free like the other junglers? Certainly, he did not testify at the TRRC. So one can say, yeah, but he did not testify, so he cannot enjoy like the others. But has government also contacted him to invite him to come and join, to come and testify before the TRRC or not? I think also in all of this, we have to also prioritize rights and the law, so that at the end of the day, we are seen to be acting, decently, consistently, genuinely, and sincerely. Yeah. So a whole stuff needs to be put in place.
We are not sure what government is going to do, what steps it's going to take. But what I do know for certain, the name of Sanna raises fear in the Gambian people.
Yeah.
So I don't think government will buy.
Even the military folks speak to him about certain. Speak of him.
I'm pretty sure they will do something about processing him as quickly as possible. What mode that is going to take, I'm not sure. But then we also have to be able to respect his rights as an individual. But I think something needs, whether he's going to be an exceptional case in which they deal with, but like you said, it's very important that going forward, whether it's a committee, some sort of mechanism must be in place, because until the court is established, these eventualities can crop up anytime. What do we do? I mean, we cannot act on an ad hoc basis. We have to be informed by policy or proper decisions that's going to give us some sort of something to fall back on and say, this is how we decided that this is going to happen. So I think it's, like I said, it's going to be a test case, and it will be interesting to see how things unfold going forward.
Well, David, junglers, majority of the junglers, I remember when Oya was testifying, towards the end of this testimony, he said he had received a call from the team of junglers that were leaving the Gambia at the time to say, Oga has given us some money, and they wanted us to say it. And they said, well, we would like you to come to this place in one of the jungles where they do their things. And he told them, I'm not coming, because he said that was a trap to liquidate him, because they refused to leave. They didn't stay because they, So how significant do you think, within a context of security threat, do you think that the freedom of these junglers, considering how far they were willing to go and how potentially loyal they are to Jammeh, their freedom is a threat to our freedom? or the freedom of the republic?
Okay. I want to be able to look at it just beyond them. These people are declared wanted.
Yeah.
Right now, the way society views them is not warm. So whether we are in their positions or not, we can assume that they feel themselves as some bit of outcasts.
Yeah.
So that feeling alone is like, society has X'd me.
Yeah.
How do I survive this? And given their train of thought, what they were capable of doing and what they would do to please their boss, if they can easily kill without any remorse, you would want to believe that they would want to think of themselves first. Have they been repentant? It's not clear. Some of them may have testified, but we've seen the demeanor in which they have testified.
Yeah.
What is happening in their lives right now? So there is the possibility that they can be a continued threat because we have not yet dealt with them. And
the fact that they literally have nothing to lose also, isn't that significant?
That is my point. And it's not just them. There are a lot of people in this country who at this stage don't have much to lose. For me, my thinking is that Gambia needs to be happy with itself for us to have a feeling of security. What we do not want is the creation of an opportunity. Okay, you can call it a powder keg, and there is a line you don't want anybody to put a spark to it. If you look at the number of youths who are daring the back way, who are ready to die, even conscious of the implications there are. If you look at young Gambians who are now ready to go as mercenaries into Russia, then that should put some bit of fear and weariness into every Gambian.
And you look at the security sector reform also.
Well, that is also another area. It is happening, but at a really snail's pace. So there are a lot of indicators out there that we need to be wary of. And we do not want situations whereby the Sanna Manjang's names and some of these junglers and the threat of coming back to the Gambia by hook or by crook, and then let me see what happens to be, and then have it supporters boldly coming out and saying that we are ready to lay down our lives. This is not the kind of conversation we want right now in the Gambia, given the fact that we are going into elections next year, given the fact that a sub-region coup d'etats are happening there. This is not a very good mix that we want people to see and us not do the needful at the right time. I think for a lot of things that need doing, we are stalling them, and it is not happening.
And the military, I mean, if you look at the military, I mean, there is still no evidence to show that the military is not loyal to the Republic, but, I mean, we still have the regional forces. I mean, if we are completely sure that the
I don't know what still informs the continued presence of ECOMIC, even though right now they say the current mandate would be the last. But given these instances, there doesn't seem to be any guarantee that this would be the last. They are talking about closure, but we are not seeing much effort in that regard. Well, we cannot see much given the fact they would have to stay until after elections because we need them for our security. So at this point, but after elections, are we really ready? Given our
for the ECOMIC to leave?
Yes.
You think they should stay? Considering
after election,
I want to be realistic here.
Considering the second,
I do not want them to stay. I think they have overstayed their welcome. But given our realities, I don't think we are ready for that.
So giving our failure to reform the security, or
it's not just the security sector reform. We are talking about
economic situations.
The economic situation. We are also talking about we are undergoing a transitional justice process. How much of that has been achieved? Because all of these things are needed. We need to achieve a lot in order to say that Gambians have now taken care of those problems that we had in the 22 years.
And you also still have Jammeh saying,
we may have said we have opened a fresh leaf in 2017, but what is the writing there right now? It's not so much different from what we built before then.
So David, for me, ECOMIC should leave this evening, honestly. Because
I wouldn't advise that.
I know sometimes we and the security, don't see things the same way. But the realities you mentioned, if I put the reality on the table, I ask, what is the value that ECOMIC is contributing right now to our security? I see none. But I see a lot of disadvantage that presence represents. Now, you look at something, that was a time you said a coup was detected, a coup that involved Fadera.
Yes.
Sanna
Fadera.
Sanna Fadera. That wasn't detected by ECOMIC.
No.
That was detected by Gambian security. Now, this Sanna Manjang case also is Gambian security, as far as we know, with collaboration with Senegalese security inside Senegal.
Well, some people are dismissing that. They said this is solely done by Senegal. Gambia is just invited.
All right. So for me, what I see, ECOMIC provides security to the president and his family. All right. And since 2017 to date, there has not been any incident in which they protected or saved the president, because the president hasn't got any security incident. So therefore, someone saying, but their presence was a deterrent, that would be a tough conversation, to bring evidence to justify that. But their presence also means government stalling on the SSR process.
Complacency.
The complacency. And for me, that is far more dangerous. So that we've gone this far. One of our outlets, Malagan, reported that so far $7.2 billion has been spent. And we know when it comes to SSR, you have so many actors, from DCAF to UN to ECOWAS to
EU
to Germany to Turkey.
Everyone is putting money in it.
And then we sit here and we see credit to them, new police stations built, of course, and promotions taking place. But then, the commander-in-chief himself, how is he interacting with his forces, his troops? So that how many times has the commander-in-chief visited barracks to...
I've never seen one.
Unless for a ceremony. I think that was once a ceremony, graduation ceremony. So,
yeah. He did wear a military invite, and I must say it looked very well on, very good on him.
Remembrance Day, all right. But the last Remembrance Day, the president was even not in town as the commander-in-chief on occasion like that. So when I look at all the issues on the ground, I think ECOMIC should leave so that the commander-in-chief and the president, all right, these are two different roles, and the political leadership and the security leadership realize the urgency of this issue to deal with it. You see, today, as we are talking today...
But somebody could say, Madi, at this point, you could be dealing with an incident before you even did the reform.
I know, because Sanna, as you said, Sanna generates fear.
Yes.
So maybe that also is triggering us to think this way.
Yeah.
All right. But the director of intelligence, NIA, just from his talk, concluded that the Gambia is stable, no security threat. All right. We've not seen any statement from the national security advisor that there is security threat in this country, all right, or facing this country. So still, I'm still waiting to be convinced, and because this point I've said this since 2020, since 2018, since that ECOMIC should leave the next evening, and folks tell me, hey, no, the security, and these are security people who tell me, no, Madi, the security situation is. And until now, I have not seen the justification. And David, as we are talking today, today is December 1st.
Yes, it is.
9 years, when Gambians got up with hope and promise, overcame fear, and, armed with that patriotic fervor, voted out the dictatorship. And we launched a transitional justice program founded on the never again mantra. The JRRC, the Jammeh Commission, produced formidable reports with very good recommendations. If implemented, we would have been in a different situation today. A security sector framework established, and 9 years today, we are still in doubt, more in doubt than uncertainty.
Now you are talking about a problem, and chasing out ECOMIC right now does not solve the problem. Like I said, there are things that need to be in place before ECOMIC can leave now.
Yeah.
Yes. As it is right now, there is no indication to say that we are ready. Okay, and we cannot come this far after 9 years today, like you said, when we made that bold decision, and then want to let it slip off our hands. We need to consolidate, and we have not fully consolidated. But
what Madi is actually pointing at is the fact that, okay, yes, ECOMIC is relevant.
The ECOMIC is relevant.
He's saying ECOMIC is relevant, but because we know they are here, we are refusing to reform the security sector.
So that is what I'm saying. Conscious of this, let us force ourselves to reform before
they leave.
Yes. But David, that is not happening. No, because there is no political will to reform. I mean, political will both at the level of the political leadership and at the security leadership. There's no will. Like,
do you not also think that, I mean, instead of us, I mean, since from 2017, instead of us, even within the security architecture, appoint new faces. So, for example, even if you look at the deputy commander of the armed forces, is a young guy. Instead of promoting that guy to lead the army, they brought back Ahmad Cham or Mamad Cham. Okay, and of course, Mamad Cham was also accused of involvement in coups and, you know, I think 2009 or something like that. But that aside also, even from 2017, we still were having old guards, former military officers who were all Jammeh folks, to lead the military. Do you not think also, for us to get certain things done, move new ideas, reform the structures, and we need probably new faces?
In my opinion, it's not necessarily the phase at let's say the highest military structure or security. It has to do, like Madi said, political will. Yes, because if the political will is there, whoever is appointed would have to toe that line. And I think that is where we are having challenges.
Now, let's look at Sanna, for example. Sanna, if you talk to folks in the military, the way they speak about folks like Sanna and others, it tells you even the soldiers are terrified of these guys. If they had picked up a weapon, it's likely that they're not going to face a lot of resistance. Don't you think so? I mean, if they have to have access to a lot of weapons.
You mean if Sanna had picked up a weapon?
No, I mean, if all the junglers are assembled and mobilized, considering right now they are free.
I dare say that they would face significant resistance. But it could go either way. You would have people who would join them because they feel that the current dispensation does not favor them. They want it gone.
Do you think that is significant?
You also have people who want to defend the democracy that we have earned. And that is going to mean a bloodbath. That's why, for me, we do not want to create any instance where we would even hear a gun fired and give us and light that spark that I'm talking about.
Yeah, so of course, I know you talked about a lot of explosive underneath, that any action could set them off, so it could lead to chain of reactions. But the first instance is, for example, if you have to do a coup by attacking Kanilai, like some folks are saying, to run your way through Biam and all that, you're going to have to draw the entire region into a war, because you're going to kill Senegalese along the way, Ghanaians along the way, Nigerians along the way.
So, and a lot of civilians as well.
Yes, a lot of civilians.
I don't even want to imagine that possibility. But we cannot just sit back here and say, Lulu do happen, or Atekela. we have to be able to look at the realities, the indicators there, and work on addressing them. I mean, all of these things, like I said, it's a glaring indication of what is possible. If Sanna can be out there for 9 good years, and all of a sudden he is arrested, it means it's not just him. There are others out there too. We do not even know about people who may have not been associated with the junglers, but they are here and have ulterior motives. So we do not want to create that opportunity, and that's why we need to address. Like Madi said, the transitional justice process is supposed to help address all of these things. I think we should press the accelerator button, pedal, and then move things that need moving. Those who need to be taken to justice need to be taken to justice as quickly as possible. We cannot continue to stall this for too long.
Absolutely. So you see, follow the conversation. What concerns you, regional war, stuff like that? For me, that may not be the issue. You know, we saw in Guinea-Bissau, the soldiers went and staged a coup there. One can sit and analyze, but before you do this, you can, did you consider the implication of what could have happened? No, people will do what they will do. I mean, given circumstances. And I think our National Security Advisor, but also our Minister of Justice, but also the whole cabinet, as the people running this country, need to sit down and reflect deeply. Because what the short conversation we've had here, the background to it is governance. That Jammeh's issue was a governance issue manifested in all these atrocities, corruption, and so on. What we face today is a governance issue. What happened in Guinea-Bissau was a governance issue, just like in Senegal with Macky Sall, and then to change that came. It's all at the end of the day, the core of it is governance. So that when we changed in 2016, voted on this day, 2016, and we said Gambia has decided, what did we decide? For what? Against what? All right. And we saw how this transformed into a transitional justice process. Never again mantra came and all these things. So that today, 9 years, let's say security sector reform, you refuse to do any legal reforms in the security sector. The Gambian Armed Forces Act, the Police Act, the NIA Act.
The Police Act, I think it's since colonial days now.
Yeah.
There is a bill.
There is a bill, but it's still not before the parliament.
No, there are bills. I've been part of some of these processes. The Drug Control Act, they are all there.
But we now have the National Security Act. At least one has passed through.
Yeah, but which in itself.
Yeah, but documents is what we've been wasting our time on since for 9 years.
The act has the bill been passed?
It is.
Yeah, it has been passed.
Yeah, but so that is the anomaly because one can say the horse and the cart situation here.
Yeah.
Should we have had first these other security institutions acts reviewed, and then we have a National Security Act to mirror those ones, or now that we have a National Security Act 9 years later, so how long will it take to do the Police Act, to do the Armed Forces Act, and so on? But that, just to highlight the governance issue, the failure of us not doing this, until 9 years later, today, so that what
have we done anyway?
Nothing, probably. All right. So that at the end of the day, the governance issue, you look at the corruption. Now, Gambia Participate released a report, Corruption Perception Index Gambia. The police is top in terms of corruption. Yeah.
Public perception of corruption.
Public perception of corruption.
Yeah.
So, but of course, we saw the Auditor General's reports.
Yeah.
We see parliamentary reports, even presidential inquiry reports. We've had situations in this country where close to 100 children died for drinking contaminated syrup.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and government officials were implicated in bringing the drug in.
Yeah. So if you have a society, I'm just trying to buttress that trigger or powder keg or that precarious situation David talked about for the cabinet, the president to reflect. He talked about the back way. If somebody can go to feel desperate, frustrated, are marginalized, underprivileged, or deprived, to the point that you think I will go on the bank with all the risk. You think that person, if you say, look, I'm going to offer you $500 to pick up a gun, will not do so. May likely do so. Or I'll take you to Russia to go and fight. May likely say, oh, well, I'll go and receive it $500 to go to Russia and fight. All right. Or even, a terrorist cell may say, look, we recruit you and we pay you $1,000 every month to be a terrorist. You see? And simply because the governance situation, that is to ensure protection of rights, all right, the fulfillment of rights, the creation of opportunities, all right, to ensure that there is accountability. You did this story about the former fisheries permanent secretary. It's the only high-profile conviction we've got. But what happened? Halfway in his term, you pardoned the person. And we sit here every day. The central theme of this government since 2017 is corruption. And the fact that that is the case, it means corruption is unchecked and rewarded.
But even with
so when you look at all of that environment, it tells you we have a very poor governance environment. And where there exists poor governance, then you are inviting insecurity. You are inviting, instability. You are inviting, all of the things that can really, put this country apart. And, I just said all these other things. I didn't even talk about the socio-political environment, the polarization, the hate speech. National Human Rights Commission just released a report. And, you look at the incidence of hate speech and who is
negative ethnicity.
Yeah. So when you look at all the factors, that's why I'm like, okay, the Director General of NIA, who do Gambia is stable? When you say that's what security is.
I wouldn't blame him to say, when we talk about security, maybe his key responsibility is
regime security.
Okay. But even in our SSR policy, and we are saying that we are going to look into more achieving human security, and all of these things that you are talking about are part of human security. And I think that is where we should recognize some level of threat. What is our level of security when it comes to food security, health security, environment security, community security, and so on?
Yeah.
We need to be able to look at each of these and then be able to tell ourselves how are Gambians feeling, what are Gambians confronted in when it comes to each of these 7 themes of security. What much are we doing in addressing those emerging issues? Because those are the threat to our security.
Thank you.
When I said Gambia needs to be happy with themselves, that is what I meant. If I know that if I fall sick tomorrow, I am guaranteed of getting the necessary medical care I need, I wouldn't want that threatened. If I know that if I am hungry, I'll be able to find food, I wouldn't want that threatened. If I know that, as long as these things are there, every Gambian would be interested in protecting them. But if it is not there, what are you going to protect, especially if you are losing everything?
So, in terms of TRRC, for example, we've seen that the recommendations were out. The last monitoring report by the National Human Rights Commission, which directly relates to all these issues, Jongola's prosecution of them, arrest of them, and all of that, is that I think 20 out of 192 recommendations, or 16 out of 192 recommendations were fully implemented. You following? You followed? Are you two following their implementation?
I occasionally look at what do they call it?
No.
I know it's on their
website.
Yes.
That was the last. Yes.
I occasionally look at it.
That was the last report.
I think they are saying now 20%.
Yes, 20%, but it's 16 actually. I think out of 192 fully implemented.
Yeah.
And
the thing, that's all part of the governance situation have been highlighted. So that when you look at the TRRC, if you look at the recommendation of the TRRC, they are not just security or institutional or legal or constitutional, but they are even social and cultural.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of...
And religious also.
Yeah, that's what I mean. For example, in terms of the religious, there's a recommendation that the president should abandon being patron of the Gambian Islamic Council.
Yeah.
I mean, all you need is write a letter from the Secretary General, Chief of Staff, to the President Gambian Security Council. You are hereby informed, based on TRRC recommendation and accepted in the white paper, that the president shall no more be patron of. Full stop. That is a no cost. I mean, the paper is cost.
A lot of.
So there are so many low cost recommendations that could have been done. Declare April 10 and 11 public holiday, school holiday, for example. That just declare. That is no cost. All right. But even if there is cost, how much cost are we talking about? Like, let's say $1 billion. The needs of victims. I believe any victim, and I've raised this to some other people, any victim, especially those that need medical care, the state should take them, even if it is at the end of the war, to make sure they get medical care, because the state inflicted harm on them.
Yeah.
Yes. And nowhere or no situation should be expensive for the state.
But the state has accumulated over $1 billion from the sale of
Jammeh assets. We've not even talked about the Potomac residents in America.
Yeah.
And of course, what they would put in the budget. But you could have easily addressed, even if it is cost, let's say, issue of reparations, medical care, stuff like that. Because if that is $1 billion, you bought vehicles $1 billion for OIC.
But they have not even accounted for the expenditure of the expenditure of the money made from the sale of Jammeh.
Yes, no, but I'm just saying that the lack of political will, if it were there, the TRRC recommendations, we should not be talking about 20% today. We should have been talking about 99.9%. 9 years.
I want us to look at two things. One is, so for example, if you look at Barrow-Jammeh relationship, I mean, we know that according to Fawaka Tombonjata, and I don't think he had any reason to lie, or Rambo and others, Jammeh was the one who championed their conversation, their alliance talks with Barrow. And Barrow was talking to them. And Barrow was reasonably talking to Jammeh as well about alliance until Jammeh pulled out at the last minute. I mean, it does seem clear that Barrow is not concerned about justice as he is concerned about keeping power.
Absolutely.
Doesn't it? I mean, because why would it's a very valid point. It's a very valid point. I'm not only that. Now that those who had been a significant part of the Jammeh government also hold really very significant positions in this current government. How do you go on to push an agenda that goes against what you have actually have a hand in?
And it's very interesting that in these conversations, I mean, I saw Honorable Jiba raise this, that if you consider Jammeh a national security threat, currently the speaker is Jammeh's longest serving majority leader. And you have the deputy speaker, and Sidinja interjected and said, no, don't say that. You are calling speaker national security threat. And so
but it depends on how you look at security. Yes. You know, if you are a speaker, every Gambian should be able to look at you and have trust, faith, and confidence in you. Even if it's not 100%, at least a greater percentage. Now, if there are bots surrounding you, that makes it a problem. Yes. So, minute as it may be, it has security implications.
But I mean, the morality.
Trust and confidence.
Yes. But the morality of it, though. I mean, if you look at, on one hand, Tombong is sure, and he said it many times. Rambo said it many times. All these guys said it. Jammeh was the one who asked us to go and talk to Barrow and find out an arrangement. Of course, we know Jammeh kicked it aside later on because Jammeh liked things to be on his terms. Maybe he was not happy with the way things were.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Barrow, of course, the evidence is glaring and the contradiction, the immorality of it. 2017, he said he will not take anyone from Jammeh's cabinet, because he has enough experts, as he liked to say at the time. And today it's a different thing altogether. His cabinet is, the parliament, across public institutions. So the long and short of it is, Barrow has prioritized his political survival, his personal interests above national interests, and that has undermined the governance of this country. So that whether it is reforms in terms of legal institutional reforms, or whether it's in terms of justice and accountability, for the human rights violations, or whether it's in terms of reparations and or other reforms as well around that, but also whether it is in terms of effective governance to ensure that public institutions are efficient, transparent, accountable, and responsive, whether it's health, education, or sports, any sector. You find weaknesses all over because Barrow has, relegated marginalized governance, for political survival. And that is a big security threat because that is manifesting itself, therefore, in the failures we are seeing, highlighting the terrible human security situation that they have said. So that if you look at hate speech, it's a community security issue. If one understands the whole concept of human security, that I should be able to live in this country, and my tribe, my religion, my origin, my birth, everything should not be a liability for me. I should not be discriminated, marginalized, or called names. And there is a problem in this country today. Tribalism, it's a problem. People have felt marginalized, lost a job. Yeah. Because they feel somebody just, is attacking them or marginalizing them because of their tribe or religion or origin and stuff like that. All right. And that is a governance issue that we should not have had in this country. Afrobarometer did a survey. They looked at ethnic groups and, the perception. How do you feel government treating you? So it is not just in the community like people doing to each other. Yes, but government itself, people say based on their ethnicity, government is not treating them fairly. Now that is worrying. All right. So when you look at the landscape, the governance situation is very poor, and that is affecting therefore every other thing: institutional integrity, performance of institutions. Anti-corruption and so on, and it's worrying.
But there's one particular issue I also would like to sound both your opinions on. It's very interesting that even where Barrow responds to Jammeh, he only responds to him insofar as preventing him from coming to Gambia. There is still no indictment against Jammeh. There is no arrest warrant. There is no opening of an official investigation against Jammeh. And Barrow hasn't said when Jammeh comes, we are going to arrest and prosecute him. He just said Jammeh cannot come here until I allow him to come. Do you think?
No, I think probably
is he
fair to him?
Yeah.
I think in either maybe Sibanur or Biham, in this tour.
Yes, the last one. I have the audio.
Did he say prosecution?
No.
Okay.
He just said that Jammeh la julowe jo kangata julo men duole jo kangata, that he prevented people from coming here and even their remains. And so, but he said that if Jammeh were to return to the Gambia, it's only him who could. He didn't say anything relating to him being arrested and prosecuted.
Yeah. Well,
But I mean, why? I mean, my point is, if Jammeh is wanted, and Jammeh is a person of interest, why are we more interested in pushing him away than bringing him back?
So this is why, for me, I said we need a mechanism in place. Now, I know we are in the process of creating the special tribunal.
Yeah.
And one could say, okay, you can't do investigations now because the special tribunal should set up, the special prosecutor should maybe send an indictment for Jammeh so investigations emerge. Okay, but we had the HRRC, the evidence was given, So what is justice doing right now, managing that and so on? So, so where that stands, it's debatable. But then what I would have thought is that, because Jammeh was the head of state, so it's a special case. Is it necessary for us to engage with ECOWAS? And they could say yes, there was some engagement, and they even at one point, I think the foreign minister, when Tangara was there, must have traveled to Ghana to see, what has come out of that. But also, have you engaged with the government of Equatorial Guinea? We know there was a time too, I think Tangara went to Equatorial Guinea, but they didn't disclose what the conversation was about.
Yeah.
So as to lay the groundwork for, say, his extradition to the Gambia or to some other place to be tried. Because at the end of the day, that is the fundamental question that will come. Will Jammeh come or not?
What do you think David Jammeh's coming is going to present to us?
It's not about just his comment. His continued relevance is what even worries me. If after 22 years, Gambians unanimously got up and said, we have got enough of Yahya Jammeh, and then he leaves. And 9 years down the lane, when he speaks,
it's very popular.
Everybody stops.
Yeah.
Why does he continue to hold?
Doesn't that shows the government is incompetent?
Those are the questions why should he still be relevant? That 9 years down the lane, when Yahya Jammeh said, everybody stops everything to listen. Why? And he still continues to say, they can be remarkable.
Yes.
So that in itself is worrying.
Yeah,
yes, we know he projects himself to be a very brave man.
Yeah.
He speaks his mind. But if after all the revelations that happened after the TRI, if after he's left for 9 good years, he still holds a lot of relevance, then it's either Yahya Jammeh is very good for Gambia, or we have not gotten a better replacement for Yahya Jammeh. It's one of these.
I will say the latter, and to say, I think Barrow resurrected Jammeh. I think 2016-17, Gambians had rejected Jammeh. Jammeh recognized that an APRC.
He was not even issuing audios.
Yeah. I think the fact that Barrow, capitulated, to his supporters, his enablers, the alliance, and then his own failure, governance failure as Barrow, created the perfect fertile ground for the resurrection of Jammeh. And David, on the other hand too also, Jammeh will be relevant, because Jammeh is the most consequential leader we've had in this country since independence. Not in the positive sense.
But when I talk about relevance, it's not about what he did, but until today.
He's still popular.
Yes.
Yes. 5 parliamentarians.
He's divisive.
Thanks to gerrymandering, of course.
Yeah.
He has a lot of charisma.
He still has.
All he needed to do to say that, go and meet in Kanilai, I am going to talk to you.
Yes.
And look at the number of thousands who went.
Yes, yeah. but also around the world, there are former presidents, and we also have to give it to Jammeh that at a personal level, he has a personal, that personality also, has charisma, and he has a very, some Gambians who passionately believe in him.
Yeah.
And which is also not strange. If Hitler emerges in Germany today, you'll have some bunch of Germans who sincerely
there are
believe
still
in him.
Billionaires who are celebrating him.
So that may not be too strange. Mm-hmm. But like in some other country, and I think Macky Sall will eventually come to enjoy that. Remember the case of even Watt, after he left. Eventually, he became relevant because, again, it is about who replaces this person and how is that replacement good, so that it will go to determine whether the predecessor is irrelevant or not, despite his charisma and everything. And I think that is what has or is sustaining Jammeh. And we've been with this for a long time because Barrow is still here in 2026, and if he wins, it will still be that. Because apparently Barrow is not of a a stronger leader, effective leader, in the good sense than Jammeh, when you look at it. I mean, so that, otherwise Barrow would have changed our governance in such a way that, Jammeh will become totally irrelevant. But because of his poor governance, all right, and Jammeh's charisma, even if his base is a bit tiny today, it has made Jammeh very alive.
But how do you also bring Jammeh to justice, and when the very people who also defended the quote-unquote atrocities under him were the same people who were essentially bringing him to justice? Because they are part of the government and the highest level of government. Like, there is so much contradiction in that. I mean, in terms of justice, I mean, because they do say justice shouldn't just be done, it should be seen to be done.
I think all around that's what we've been talking about. That what is stolen that political will? Is it because those who are on the driver's seat right now, those who are supposed to make those decisions, those who are supposed to push those buttons, are themselves complicit? I mean, if I had served under those terms during Jammeh's period, and today I have to push certain buttons, I would be very hesitant to do that. And maybe that's what's happening, and as a result, it's affecting a whole lot of things.
Now, we're going into elections, and of course, if you look at the general Gambian atmosphere, a lot of the political parties have no problem alliance with Jammeh if it's going to win them an election. It seems to be a Gambian attitude that we are not very straightforward people, maybe. I mean, I don't know, but we have seen even those who were with Barrow, they were with the coalition and some key members of parties of the coalition before they went with Barrow. What do you think it's going to be? What do you think the atmosphere is going to look like as far as TRRC or implementation of Gambia's TJ process or justice is concerned?
My thoughts are that implementation is going to stall, more especially during the coming year. I don't think we will see much movement, and the desire to win politically, like you have insinuated, is going to create new alliances irrespective of which political party, whether it's the Nodo Alliance, APRC, whether it's the now APRC. We are going to see 2026 is going to be an interesting period politically. For
all the major parties?
For all the major political parties. But I do not envision seeing much being done in pushing the TJ agenda. That is going to go quiet for some time. I mean, the TJ key among these is, I don't think they will be talking about the new constitution. And that is a very significant aspect of our TJ process. I don't see this court happening in 2026.
How about the Sanna Manjang? Do you think he will be held accountable before that?
Sanna Manjang is going to be an interesting case. I am going to think at this moment investigations are going to happen. Based on what they find out, that would inform what for also action they are going to. And that's why I said it's going to be an interesting case. It will depend on what they unearth from him. Who is going to be implicated? If somebody they are out there who holds a significant position, who could be implicated, we do not know what kind of intelligence will be gathered from Sanna. And so I'm pretty sure whatever they unearth on him would be dependent on how they deal with it. Whether they are going to bring him, is he going to be a hostile witness? Is he going to cooperate with government to give us information needed for them able to lay hands on Yahya Jammeh? A lot of interesting things are going to happen, but when it comes to the TJ process, I think that will be stalled for some time.
What do you foresee would be probably security issues? What would we be talking about more? What we would see more of it?
Looking at the one I published conflict development analysis, because we cannot just we have to look at what has been pinpointed and what is evidence. He's talked a lot about hate speech it is becoming more and more prevalent, and that is something that we are going to see even more of as we go into election. That's something we need to be conscious of.
One that is relating to ethnicity?
Yes, yes. So this hate speech, in fact, the studies have revealed that it becomes more prevalent during the elections period. Mm-hmm. We are going there. So we have not addressed the instances that happen because we do not have the laws to address them. And now we are going into a period when, at this point, we are seeing the emergence of a lot more political parties. So there would be greater division, disintegration among the Gambians. And our political narrative has not been based on policy discourse. It has always been regional, tribe, and so on. And I am not seeing much difference going to happen. So we need to look into that. We have to look at our youthful population and the problems we are facing with most of them undertaking the back way. It's an alarming situation. They are going away. Some of them are coming back. What state do they come back in?
Some are being deported. I mean, deportations is happening all throughout.
Yes, what state are they coming back? What is happening to them when they come home? We've talked about people who are going to Russia. Are any of them coming back? What state do they come back in? We have
junglers.
The junglers to think about. Terrorism in the sub-region is something else that we also... So there are a lot of security...
But Jammeh also's insistence is coming back.
Yes.
And is it some country you cannot...
We do not understand how that is happening. So to just sit back and say he is not going to come without understanding what he is actually up, what he has up his sleeves is also something. So we have a lot to look at.
The SSR, do you think there will be something positive to report about?
At this stage in the SSR, the SSR policy or strategy identified 5 key areas. Among them was legal reforms. But when it comes to the legal reforms, I think so far it is only the National Security Council that has passed. So the GAF bill has not yet passed. The Gambian Police Force bill has not yet passed. The Gambian Immigration bill has not yet passed. The Gambian Prisons bill has not yet. So that is a fundamental pillar of the SSR process that is lacking. And it's not likely that it will happen in 2026. If a change of government happens, what is that government going to do?
Look like?
Is it going to, yes, is it going to follow through the SSR agenda? We do not know. Is it going to have a change of priorities? So it's quite a delicate situation we are in.
Rising cost of living.
Rising cost of living, of course. So there is a lot at play here, and I think those are indicators that we need to be wary of and start addressing those we can address.
But as a Democrat and I think that we all are people who are wary of military takeovers, but if you look at folks in the region, you are seeing that in the region, coups are happening everywhere. Bissau just happened now. There was Conakry before. There was Niger. There's Burkina Faso. There's Mali. And now we just have it next door. And we are dealing with a tough situation home here also. And we're not having proper security sector reform. What do you think? And you have a young population that probably has no idea what the military is about because they have not lived under 1994, okay, towards the latter part of the Jammeh regime. They are watching a lot of advertisements of what Tarawale is doing in Burkina Faso, largely Russian-sponsored ads. And there's this is a fancy stuff. Military is beautiful. We're having that kind of vibe if you go to TikTok and other places.
Yes. And I think that is one very fundamental indicator we should also be working. Because these things are if these people are able to do it, why not us? And that's why I said, but for any military takeover to succeed, the population has to welcome it. And that's why I insist Gambia needs to be happy with itself. It goes back to what Madi was saying. We have to improve our governance systems. Those things that the people need to where they will say no to those kind of things. We just need to provide those.
But again, we also have a president who promised 3 years, he went for 5 years. Now he's went for 10 years. Now he's going for 15 years. I mean, it's also a sort of discouraging self-perpetuation in a way, and encouraging self-perpetuation, and that's also not looking good, is it? I mean, even though we
So a lot of people will argue that it's within his democratic rights.
Yeah.
Our constitution gives him those rights, which is quite so. But given where we are coming from, when we decided to undertake the TJ process, when we decided to come up with a new constitution, those were things we wanted to see happen, term limits and things like that. So those things have not been achieved. So that is what I mean. What are these indicators? So and you are very right when you talk about this. Those things in itself, constitutional as they may be, democratic as it may, they are fairly within his rights. But they have a problem in their nature, given our history.
And I think there's something that you have said, it's very important, where folks say, well, it can't get any worse anyway. You know, so that the military may not solve our problem, but even if they kick these elites out, it can't get any worse. We don't care.
What have we got to lose?
It's not us who we are eating anyway.
Yeah. And that is worrisome.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, in terms of justice, just strictly on justice matters, where do you think it's going to? We are being led into. I mean, now we have Sanna in custody. Of course, that doesn't mean TRRC recommendation will still be very much implemented with enthusiasm. Where are we heading to? I mean, considering all the factors, elections is coming, you know.
It's to repeat what David said. I don't see the special tribunal established unit work in 2026. So meaning, if they're supposed to take Sanna before the special tribunal, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, but the case of Sanna is such that will the local courts be adequate to treat him before the high court? Will that be adequate? Yes, a lot of evidence came out during the TRRC, and I guess some of the junglers are out there who testified. But is the evidence enough? Are the witnesses, well prepared for a process to start to try Sanna in a normal court? When will that be? We are now in December. It's just beginning. I do not see anything happening. The moment we enter January, I think everything will be secondary to politics, and the Barrow's focus is on re-election. Our political parties are not also speaking heavily on transitional justice. All right, maybe if one to be fair to one of them would be SFR, but simply because he was the chair or his lead counsel of the Truth Commission. All right, so justice, therefore, maybe in terms of prosecutions, I don't see that happening in 2026. When you can look at justice in terms of reparations, the opportunity is there, even though a bit uncertain. The money, 1 billion, 1.2 billion, that was put in central bank from Jammeh proceeds, I think that money is gone. I know government is trying to get the Potomac residents' money. It's not there. We'll have to see what goes in the 2026 budget for reparations. It's good that the Reparations Commission is established, and I think they are doing their work to gather stuff.
Yeah,
right.
the money from Potomac is going to go to reparations.
Yeah, but that money has to reach them first.
Yeah.
So maybe if there can be justice or would be justice in 2026, it may come in the form of reparations. So, you know, we are in a situation, therefore, I think, for me, it goes down to the governance issue. And I don't see that improving. And, you know, the fears David raised, I think, are pertinent. Hate speech, the polarization, you know, the incendiary remarks by politicians. We are watching what is coming out of the President's Meet the People tour. The kind of statements himself and the ministers and the advisors say, you know, Ismail Assise, the Minister of Information, we've had him caricature party leaders, other political actors, you know, and their personal issues, bringing that to the political platform. So those are not helpful. Yes, those are not helpful. So which all undermine, threaten, you know, national security stability. So this election should be really concerning, you know, to peace builders, you know, to free and fair election, you know, advocates, and of course, you know, to human rights, you know, advocates, as to what would be said and what would be done. So we are going into a very volatile environment in 2026. You know, and while all of that is happening politically, you look, you know, the whole background, the socio-economic context is not in good. You know, so it's really worrying what that would mean in 2026.
Finally, for both of you, kept you too long. Just one issue on Jammeh. Of course, Jammeh himself is saying many contradicting things. One, he's saying he's coming in peace. Another time he speak as though when he is here, he's going to go back to power, and that he's going to do something about the oil Senegalese stealing, which means he's going to go to power, which we know is not possible because he is not qualified to contest the next election, considering he's not been resident here for the last 5 years. And so that begs the question, how is he going to get back to power? And second, he made claims if he's here, folks who said they're going to arrest him are going to run, so why would they run? And things like, I mean, what do you think, Jammeh, his WhatsApp audios seem to be very effective to a point that they draw statements from the government. I mean, what security-wise would that represent? I mean, considering we're going into elections, Jammeh, in the last presidential election, we saw he was so tense that he was calling Barrow donkey, you know, and other things. And it's what would Jammeh represent in 2026, particularly relating to the elections?
I think, for me, Jammeh's continuous relevance, especially in coming out with such audios, his threat of is a threat even, of coming home, I mean, which he has every right to. But how he gets received would be something else. I find that to be problematic. I come from the region of Fonyi, and the people in Fonyi, a lot of people in Fonyi hang into, because he is their own. They love him as their own. And not only him, a lot of other people across the whole country. They believe in every word he utters. And they've been stuck in his absence. For them, he's like, he's savior, he needs to come back. So, for me, those people also, they are plight given the hold that Jammeh has on them. Needs looking into. They are citizens of this country. Yeah. You know, so, you know, you have a whole bunch of people.
Do you think Jammeh is exploiting some sort of marginalization of Fonyi? Or do you think it's justified to say Fonyi is marginalized?
To be fair with Jammeh, you wouldn't want to rule for 22 years and all of a sudden your name disappears. You wouldn't want to rule for 22 years and all they ever talk about you is evil.
Yeah.
So you can see where he will hang on to anybody, and you know, to continue having relevance. But I don't think he would care much how that affects them. I don't know if he does understand even how that affects them, what is happening to these people, and that so much so that they are not able to move on. So I feel for these people. I feel so sorry for them. I want them to be able to say that, you know what, he has had his time. We have gotten from what we got, but we need to move on, because as a country we need to move on.
Yeah.
And given the fact that he's holding on to that, because what he is doing is, he is using that. If Yahya Jammeh was releasing audios and nobody was listening, or not this many people were listening, I don't think government would have been bothered. So he holds a lot of relevance, and I think something needs to be done. I mean, especially given the fact we are going into elections. Why would he wait until now that we are going into elections for him to be more consistent in his audios and his talk about coming home?
One of the last audios, he even said, "Say it so that it is viral." Jammeh talking about viral. I said he is in our time now.
Yeah. So what needs to be done? I mean, it's late. Because the solution to Jammeh is a governance issue, and that failed since 2017. And that is what, as I said, resurrected, gave him sustenance to see this. And for someone who's ruled for 22 years, you would have influence in a society, all right? And, so in some sense, what is happening with Jammeh and the Gambia is not unique. But there's some peculiarity with Jammeh as well, because if you check all the dictators, not only dictators, former presidents that have people who have been removed, they do not come with the kind of mentality and conversation Jammeh comes with. Like, what was him speaking like this to the Senegalese people? All right. When he was removed, wasn't speaking like this to the Ugandan people. All right. Pinochet, the same. But Jammeh has a personality, a very stubborn personality, one must say, and also to say his worldview is such that he is fixated. He has refused to accept his reality.
But Jammeh is prophesized. So I spoke to one person very close in the inner circle, who said that Jammeh prophesied that he was going to leave power.
Yeah.
And that he's going to come back. This is a waiting for fulfillment of a prophecy.
His peculiarity, that stubborn mindset, that refusal to accept reality, that I need to move on. But above all, is because your replacement became such a failure. Because not Jammeh talking over there. You walk around this street, you hear somebody say, Bufi Jammeh nekon. It don't happen. Right? Ni Jammeh berun jawate, security was tight. Jammeh was here, this and that. So when citizens say that today, it reflects the failure of the replacement. And so what is to be done? We hope we have a new government in 2026 or 2027.
Yeah.
And that government would prioritize good governance, so that very difficult though, but to correct.
But so far, what you have, wouldn't that be a miracle? Wouldn't that be a miracle so far? What you have seen, what you have seen.
Even if we do not have a new government, let us hope that even if this government stays, it does the needful as soon as possible.
Yeah, because they are threatening the very existence of this country. The way and manner Barrow and his team are running this country, they are running it in a very carefree, as if there's no tomorrow and everything is free. It appears, they are yet to realize the gravity of responsibility in their hands, and not recognizing that this country is drifted. So, and that is very, very scary. So, to deal with Jammeh is a governance issue, ultimately.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for stopping by. I think we'll have to stop it here. It's been a long time. We've been talking, and thanks for stopping by, all of you.